This is Larry the Bearded Wonder with World 11, and you're tuned to the World 11 Podcast Network. Press start to engage your mind.
Hello, this is your host Zoe, and welcome to Mind Over Media Podcast, a podcast powered by the World 11 Network. Here's a note for all listeners. I am not a licensed psychologist, and all views from the show are from my point of view or from the point of view of my guests. Please take this into consideration while listening. Thank you. In today's session of Mind Over Media, we'll be listening to the song Life is Fun by ODD1SOUT and Boyinaband. This song awesomely talks about mindfulness in a very funny way. So relax, get comfy as we get ready to blow our minds.
Spoilers.
As previously stated, there are spoilers ahead. While we try not to reveal everything about the media we cover, there are spoilers about the content. Keep that in mind as you enjoy today's show.
It goes downhill. We gotta make the most of it, or you'll regret it. We are young. Now, life is fun. For some people.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mind Over Media. I'm your host, Zoe, and today we're talking about mindfulness by using the song Life is Fun by ODD1SOUT and Dave from Boyinaband. So, first off, before we dive into the song, we need to talk about what is mindfulness anyway. So, mindfulness is defined as a non-judgmental way of paying attention to the present moment. For instance, let's say you are on your way to work and then traffic jams and you're stuck in traffic. Now, yes, this is aggravating to a lot of people, and you could let that run and control you and just end up in this horrible mood. Or you could stop and say, you know what, this sucks, but right now, we're just in this traffic jam and we're just going to deal with it. So that is looking at it from a non-judgmental point of view. You're kind of just looking at the facts, and this technique is used to help break habits of negative thinking, where, often it's easy to dwell in the negative, but it stops you from focusing on the negative and trying to stay neutral, and eventually, maybe trying to find the positive and staying on that side of things. Now, I do understand how that sounds, where, you're depressed or anxious and someone just says, calm down or think positive about it. And a lot of us always hate when that's said because, we always think, well, if it was that easy, I would just do it. And I will be the first person to say mindfulness is not easy. It takes a lot of work to change your mental habits. But the only way for them to change is to start doing it. Start trying to challenge those negative thoughts. But this concept is illustrated very well in this song. So in this song, there are two people talking to each other. You have ODD1SOUT, who, plays a guy who's going about life, and he's like, hey, I'm going to do all these happy things and just focus on the happy stuff at life. And then you have Dave of Boyinaband, who is saying, all these darker things like, you want to contribute to the economy, well, the middle class is shrinking, or you're proud to be an American, look at all these terrible things America has done. So to give you all kind of an idea of what's happening in this song, I'm gonna play a short clip for you of that song.
Life is a wonder.
You'll never know the answer.
Nature is a miracle.
Natural disasters.
It's good to be alive.
Could wake up with cancer.
But I'm healthy.
Healthy people still get cancer.
I love this show.
It's the last episode.
The sun is shining.
It's going to explode.
Every species is beautiful and unique, though.
Children have malaria thanks to mosquitoes.
Okay, so now that we've heard that little clip, you have a better idea of what I'm talking about, that whole back and forth. And it can be kind of hard not to focus on the things going on in society and going on in the world. At the time of this recording, we have the whole thing going on with Ukraine and Russia, and me being an American, just all things happening in America right now with the government and all of these new laws going around, and I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to make everything super political, but just the world climate, right now, especially, coming off the big panini, just is not in the, most spectacular place ever. And I find it interesting that this is still relevant, even though this song came out in 2018. But there was one part of the song that I really liked, and it really focuses on that part of mindfulness, and it's when, ODD1SOUT is, they're going through this list of stuff, and he said, hey, you know what, even though it's just, all these negative things, he's like, they're just thoughts, like, I don't have to focus on that. So I'm going to play you that clip, because I think that clip is actually pretty funny and pretty interesting.
Met a cute girl with a ponytail.
Statistically, that relationship is going to fail.
I have a wonderful family, it's like no other.
You're not special, and one day you'll bury your mother.
No matter what, I can find a home.
We will all die alone.
There's amazing potential in every human on Earth.
There's no escaping the heat death of the universe.
I don't have to live life based on negative parts. No matter how bad they are, they're just thoughts.
Yeah, that's fair.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Wait, but you were just telling me
Whatever,
to...
man. I don't know. Live your life how you want. I'm not forcing you to do anything. I'm just saying.
Oh. Well, in that case...
Okay, so as you can see from that clip, honestly, at the end, Dave kind of agrees with him. He's like, you can do whatever you want, you can think however you want. He's like, I'm just saying that here are these things too. And that is the huge thing. It depends on what do you want to focus on? What do you want to do? Like, you could sit there and you could be Dave or you could be ODD1SOUT, and I'm not saying ignore the negative things that happen in life, but only so much is in your control. Focus on what you can control. Like right now, the whole thing with Ukraine and Russia, I have no control over what happens with that. Absolutely none. And I do keep myself informed on the news, but other than that, I just tell myself, okay, this is what's happening. And I try not to stress myself out about it because, like I said, there's nothing I can do about it. What's happening in Ukraine is going to continue to happen. And, if something is within your control, see what you can do about it. But if it's not, acknowledge it, feel that feeling, but then, try to maybe think about it more objectively, try to have a different mindset when thinking about it. So to sum up, because our session is getting close to ending here, mindfulness is a very, very useful tool. Like I said, it's not an easy one to use. You really have to work at that. And yeah, I really hope that you are able to incorporate this practice into your daily life, because it is a daily thing that you're going to have to do. I think it's something everyone should do, and not just people with mental health issues. But as I have said, sadly, our time has come to a close today. I hope you're here with us next week. This was Mind Over Media. I'm Zoe, and as always, remember to protect your peace. You can find Mind Over Media podcast in the World 11 podcast feed at world11.podbean.com. All spelled out, all one word. World 11 Podcast Network can also be found on all major podcatchers, such as Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Good Pods. You can find the Mind Over Media podcast on Twitter at MindMediaPDcast, and the entire World 11 network at World1_1 podcast.